he basically bankrupted the Egyptians.
Well, they gave them everything.
Yeah, I said it. They borrowed, but you know, this type of borrow, they never paid it back. Okay, so this is what Robert Kiyosaki calls good debt.
Yeah.
All right, but that was just seed money to develop the nation in the wilderness. Right now, we got all these black people that done came off the Democrat plantation, walking around in the wilderness going, where the hell is Canaan? Yep. And we Republicans, come on, have to get, if Moses won't take them over, then Joshua better be ready to take them.
And they were Moses. We were better than Egypt because at least.
You're going to start hearing it. If we don't move by these midterms, the black folk will be saying, I should have stayed a Democrat.
That's exactly.
You know they're going to start saying it, and then we can get all these funny cartoons and tweets because black folk are funny. They'll make a meme and a tweet off of something stupid.
Real fast.
But we got to be able to know that right now, all these black folk that voted, I mean rappers, thugs.
Right now it's the time.
And all these folk, like right Snoop Doggy Dogg. I mean, all these people.
Ice Cube.
All these
Meat Mills. All
these people
right now
voted Republican.
Yes, they did.
And now we as Republicans, black, brown, and white, we have to create the framework and the infrastructure so that they don't start murmuring.
Right. And go back.
And go back because we know ain't nothing back there.
Yep.
Right?
That's exactly it.
And so I gotta let y'all know, I gotta do this full disclosure. Even though my DNA starts in the Congo, it goes up to Ireland. So I'm part Irish. So I gotta disclose that. I'm black Irish, okay? I'm Welsh, Great Britain, Irish, and then it goes, my mother's Jamaican, so I don't know how that happened, but I'm like what we call a Jamaican. So I'm Jamaican, and then it goes to North Carolina, okay? So
you must eat well.
So I eat very well, but I'm just saying, they all came, and now they're going, now what?
That's exactly what's going on.
And we,
that's exactly what's going
all of us in this room, gotta say, I am my brother's keeper.
Yeah. That's it.
I just want to answer.
Yes, sir.
I just want to answer my friend Dave's question here. I'm Sam, Puerto Rican. You guys all know.
Puerto Rican, ¿cómo está?
For the last 4 or 5 years, I've been out there in the streets talking to people, just out there, just on the middle of 7th Street, which is our main street, talking to people like myself, people like Jeanette, a couple of others, even Billy's been out there with us, especially Billy. It's hard to get Billy off the street.
I was about to say, Leslie and Billy.
But to answer your question, one, me being Puerto Rican, I was Democrat my whole life. I never knew any Republicans. The only ones that ever spoke to me were Democrats, right?
Right, so you're in the group.
Two, my whole life I heard Republicans are for rich white people, Democrats are for poor minorities. That's all I heard. I didn't have anybody else to counteract that. Once I learned what the histories of the parties were, when I'm out there talking to people, I simply let them know the history of the parties and how welfare has become a trap and entrapped us, because I know people, I grew up on welfare. I go, you remember every year we got to hide daddy stuff because inspection's coming? Everybody goes, oh yeah. And I tell them, this is what I tell them, welfare speaks to our daughters, it doesn't speak to our sons. It tells our daughters, if you messed up, don't worry about it. I got you with some food stamps, I got you with a little cash, hell, I even pay your rent, but don't have no man in your house. And everybody goes, I'll flip people in 15 minutes, bro.
Yeah, but I'm white.
Right.
No, I'm not gonna.
It works.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It works.
See, and that's another thing I realized, what I come to realize, because we're both on the committee at the GOP, and there's a good solid group of us in there that want to see this change, along like folks like Billy and all of you that are here. But what I came to realize within these last 4 or 5 years, and I get it, one, most of the people that are there that have the knowledge or would even have the time are older white people, which were, I would say, intimidated to be standing on 7th Street trying to tell other people about being Republican. Because 4 years ago, you couldn't mention Trump. You couldn't mention him out here. Okay? So I get that part. Okay? and the ones that are younger, strong enough to be able to defend themselves if they needed to, got jobs, they may run their businesses, or they're working, so I get that. So I see where there's been no representation either. Also, I kind of felt like the GOP saw it as a lost cause. It's gonna be a waste of time,
Yeah.
right? Because
They
we,
said it
Yeah, that's exactly
And
what
it's
they
not.
They
said.
didn't want
It's
to
not.
talk.
You mean the cities?
yeah,
Oh, yeah,
especially
oh,
in
yeah.
downtown.
Oh,
Especially
yeah,
in
all the
Waste of
cities.
time.
We were
It was
out
in
there.
Philadelphia.
Okay. And there were
Just to
times
say
that
on
we
the
were
bargaining table.
almost discouraged
What do you
on
mean
wasting our
parade?
time.
What?
Like
On
when
the bargaining table.
I was on Trump
saw
Force
that.
47, okay? I was a Trump Force captain, I did all that. They wanted us to hit all the Republicans that hadn't come out to vote. You know what I did? Adam, I'm sorry, Bobby, I'm gonna be on 7th Street, I'm gonna be flipping people.
Yeah,
And we were out there, we were flipping people.
yeah.
After the
And
Puerto
getting the
Rican
voters.
parade
At-
and the love,
We did great
oh
at the
my
Puerto
gosh, I
Rican
said I've
parade.
never stopped going out there, and I mean,
Yep.
that's
See,
just
I
what
love
And that's,
like.
I love
and
this.
that's, and I'm happy because that's the plan that we was talking about and what we
Yep.
created.
Yep.
We
That's the
have
plan
to
that we
show
create, that we
people.
show
We-
up.
Yes.
Okay, and then show up
Talk
in
to
places
people.
where they don't expect to see us.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, the Puerto Rican
Right.
parade, they don't,
Right.
Yep.
you know, I'm working now trying to get the money up for Made for America.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean, Philly, that's a big thing for, in Philly, Made for America. Now, we know in Philly, we have to pretty much pay for sponsorship. You know what I mean, in Philadelphia, so we can get into them big events. Made America is a big, huge thing in Philadelphia. The Roots Picnic is a huge thing in Philadelphia. And we just sit there, like I already planned it out already, to put my Republican table out there on the corner. You know, and just
Yep,
see
that's
what it's
what we'll
going
do.
to, that,
Oh,
just
that's what
go
we have
for
to
it.
do.
Yep.
That's what I've been doing.
Yeah, that's it.
That's why I can't wait till the weather break.
One of the things I'm
Yeah, it's too cold right now.
One of the things
Now
I'm
it's cold.
hoping though, that
Yes.
under this administration, and because now we have what is called an Office of Faith now with Paula White King,
Okay.
that there's a lot of things now that we can connect through the administration, as opposed to being lone beaches, lone rangers,
Right.
without the administration. This time, we can connect, okay, the administration to the work on the ground. I mean, President Trump had a very heavy lift with Too Big to Rig. We knew it was a heavy lift, but thank God for organizations that you were doing and what we were doing, MAGA Black, and some other, it was like,
Yes.
forcing the momentum, But now we can literally connect the DOJ, HUD, USA,
Yep.
okay, Secretary of Defense, Kash Patel, FBI. We can connect things now while we're still weeding out the swamp, because y'all know the swamp is being weeded out as we talk right now. We call it weeding, draining the swamp.
Thank God.
The woke culture. There's a lot of wokeness that's being canceled right now in the administration, the DEI, and some of the other stuff, the transgender stuff.
DEI needs to DIE.
Yeah, dead on arrival, whatever you call it, DI die.
I like that. I need the DIE.
You just changed the words.
I'm about to say.
Amen. But I'm saying there's a different connectivity this time with the grassroots, and that's why I came up here today to kind of inform you that we can connect the dots a little bit better. We can use other resources like TPUSA and other organizations. Of course, y'all use Faith and Freedom Coalition, Ralph Reed, and some of the other things, MAGA Black, Bold. There are things now that we can connect, right? And then the Office of Faith, that's real. That's not just an office in the West Wing. That is an understanding of our founding fathers' constitutional mojo.
A lot of people don't know about that.
Yeah, so
A lot of
that's
people don't know about the Office of Faith. Did y'all know about the Office of
Yeah.
Faith?
No, I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, that's what I said. A lot of people didn't know about that.
Trump surrounded by.
yeah. Well, I was there
That's
when
right.
I was there at the White House. We laid hands on President Trump. I had a chance to pray for President Trump in the Oval Office, and we were all there. Many other preachers, of course, Franklin Graham, Avita King, Jensen Franklin. We were all in the room together.
Right.
And President Trump looked up and said, "See my angels?" He has cherubims all around the Oval Office. I mean, the man's faith has changed.
I saw a picture of that one.
his faith has changed.
Yeah.
He shook my hand 3 times. I said, then he reached out again. I said, then he reached out again. I said, you know, but there's a humility on him. I saw it for myself. He says, because the helicopter was right outside. He
Ever
says,
since Butler, he's different.
yeah, he says something totally different. So they're not going to let up. They're going to find every harassment, every rude remark, because he's still a brash New Yorker. Y'all know that ain't going to change. His personality, it is what it is.
That's right.
He's a New Yorker.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So, but on the other hand, though, he is sensitive. He would not have allowed that office to be in the West Wing, and you know, with Paul White, he would have never allowed. I mean, unless something really touched him. And so we got to pray for him in that regards. Okay. And all of his children, you know, Eric. I hang out with Eric.
Thank you.
You
Pray
know,
for his family, his children, his grandchildren.
Yeah. We got Laura, you know,
Yep.
Eric, you know, I mean,
Laura.
just Ivanka and
Pray for them
Tiffany
all.
and Michael and
So you think he realizes this is more of a spiritual battle than?
Oh yeah.
they're
I
guys.
think
We wrestle not against flesh and blood.
They go
Yes,
to the White House to have Bible study with the cabinet.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Are you still gonna be running them Zoom calls that you invited me onto? You
faith,
doing this stuff here?
the Faith Initiative.
Yeah, you had a couple bishops on there.
Yes. Yeah, that's the other thing I wanted to say. The Family Life Center Initiative, talking about raising capital, okay? Raising funds, grant programs and things. We got to bring some of those resources into the area, okay? It's our money anyway, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Right? That is, Elon is finding out all this money that was going everywhere but where?
Here.
Right.
Everywhere but here.
Yep.
And so the Family Life Center Initiative is a program that we set up where we could begin to designate certain care, whether it be child care services, after school programs, and like I said, what we do with Bold Business Development, but we're talking about wraparound services, mental health services, you know what I mean? First Step Act, you know, First Step Act. I'm dealing with a lot of J6ers right now that have been traumatized. I mean, they just got traumatized in there, you know, and then they found out that there were other people in there who should have been let out before them. You know, so we got an opportunity, again, to work and develop these new networks. You gotta develop some networks. If you just do Republican Party, they already know that you're gonna be spinning your tail. You're gonna be in a tailspin. We gotta use these other resources and develop new networks, okay? And raise capital in different ways. Like I tell churches, you know, clergy, you can't just depend on tithes and offerings. Get out of here. You're gonna start getting desperate and start preaching anything just to get some money.
Yeah, that's what happened a lot around
That's what
here.
happened to a lot of churches.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's why the church is coming.
yeah. So so what I'm introducing along with Bold again is some different initiatives so that this area can create those beachheads in some of these crazy areas. I won't say crazy, potentially developed areas. They can be developed more. So I don't want to say crazy. They can be developed more, but we gotta go in. And we need resources. So I'm not coming here telling them it's free. We gotta raise capital. We gotta raise seed money. But the seed money will also attract the other resources and everything.
How can we get everyone involved in them calls to listen? I mean,
I can send out the information. I can give it to who's the head here. You, I
me,
guess.
I'm the president
Yeah.
of this organization. Yes.
So I can send you the information. Those calls are going to be, right now, they're on Saturdays at 2 p.m. But then we're going to go to project mode after the 100 days. And they're going to be on Tuesdays between 11 and 12. Normally probably around 11:30 to 12. And then they'll be on Tuesdays once a week. Oh, man. And so we'll be connecting with the agencies, whether it be HUD, DOE.
I like you had like 3 other bishops on that call with you.
Yeah, we mean, I'm hoping up here, I did invite some pastors, but they're not here. But we got some clergy that we have to reach out that will be amicable, right? They go, yeah, this makes sense, without them thinking that they're being so political, you know?
Well, the one clergy.
I mean, I ran for Congress, so I don't care.
Right. Well, the one
I looked
clergy.
up my name in Google, it says politician. I'm serious. I just wanted to see what they say, you know, Wikipedia and all that, you know. And it says, first thing that's up there, politician. And I've been pastoring now for 23 years. So they don't recognize that.
Now, it has your congressional stuff.
The first thing that's up on Google, you go Google Leon Benjamin.
Right, I did it.
Politician. So I said, good. I'm in the world, but not what? Of the world.
Right.
That's the point.
And that's the goal.
Yep, that's our point.
So I don't care if they call me pastor, apostle, bishop, whatever. Politician! So I'm doing what the Lord said do. Go ye into all the nations, teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. To observe
Salt
all
of the
things.
earth.
We need all the tools that we can get in our tool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really simple as that. If
Well,
we
that's why I
start
came up here today.
being
I'm
in-
hoping that I can help out.
This has actually become a large Hispanic area here,
Yep.
okay?
Okay.
We have Reading's a large Hispanic city.
Stickers.
Okay? They actually have black size hard area. You
He
go
been out there.
white.
Yeah, he been out North Philly a lot. He comes to Philly, yeah.
Good going.
That's how I know him.
Exactly.
I know him from Philly. I make everybody come to Philly.
Hispanics,
You ain't gonna talk about you support me and can't come to Philly.
so many of them.
Are you running in
I'm
26?
telling
Well,
them.
it's an opportunity.
You got primary in 26?
Right.
I don't see the
I look at
marketing
it.
stuff.
Everything I
Some
look
of the
at
marketing.
that.
I sent you a text.
We're going against, we're going against
Done with the woke stuff.
the old Republican machine right now. And I'm telling people, they gotta become the face of the new Republican Party.
Well, we don't have to fight so hard. MAGA is the face of the Republican
Yeah,
Party.
but it's not Lehigh County, it's not Northampton County.
Correct.
I'm letting you know that.
We still
It's
we
not
still recording?
MAGA. They fight MAGA.
Yes, still.
Okay, we still recording, okay.
Well, I'm hoping that this is okay. You know, it's you know, we're gonna have to get what I call build some muscle in some of these areas where we kind of you know, just atrophy. You know, we're gonna have to build some muscle, and the way you build muscle is sometimes you start like repetition, which is what we put on social media, what we tweet out, our messaging. You know, that's light reps. You know, we can do that consistently, right? Messaging and everything. And then we start doing a little bit heavier things by doing the clergy roundtables and the town halls, okay? And then we can do some heavy lifting and bringing a speaker. We can bring General Flynn in here, you know? We can bring,
He's amazing.
you know, we can bring some people, you know, and come and talk, and Roger Stone, you know, or somebody like that, you know, or Charlie Kirk, or whatever. You know, do some heavy lifting.
I would love to meet
You know, but if we start with the mini reps, you know, we do the tweeting and the messaging and saying we got a new thing going on here. We're the new face of the Republican. You start talking about we're the new face of the Republican Party, you can start getting all these crazy messaging and tweets. But that's just small reps. And if we can't handle that type of rejection, my God, what are you gonna do if we start doing the town halls and the clergy roundtables? You know, and start calling out representatives, talking about, hey, they didn't show up to the meeting and everything. That's on another level. And then what's going to happen when we bring in the heavyweight people to come in to lift the heavy load? Okay? You know, so we start at this level, then we go to that level, but every new level, there's a new devil. So we start on this level, deal with these devils. Then we go to this level, deal with these devils. By this time, we do like it says in Ephesians. He led captivity captive and gave gifts unto men. So the interpretation is that they kept on holding on to him. So they hold on to you in this level, you say, come up here to the next level. Then they hold on to you in this level, you say, come up here to the next level. And then that's when the gifts start coming into your community. You start saying, they can't stop us. They can't stop us. They can't stop us. They can't stop us. Okay, but we can start on this level with the messages after tonight.
I want you to get,
Okay, I'm done.
Bishop,
I'm done. God bless you all. Thank you. God bless America. God bless Valentine.
this part I gotta cut off right now.
Yes.
We got